Hey guys, this is Gerry O reporting for Kids First, and right now we're at the premiere for the movie Gifted. We're going to meet the actors of the film, we're going to meet the creators of the film, we're going to learn about the film, and I'm also going to check out the film, so stay tuned for my review on the Kids First YouTube page of the film. But right now, I got some people to meet, and I'm really excited. Let's see who we can find. Right now with Octavia Spencer, who plays Roberta in the film. So, how are you doing today?
I'm good.
Well, fantastic. So, to you, what do you think it means to be gifted, to be a genius? Do you think it means to be good at education, at the arts? What do you think it means?
I think gifted has many connotations. I think there are some people who are gifted musicians and artists, and there are some people who are gifted academically. This child in our film happens to be gifted academically.
Right now, Mckenna Grace, who plays Mary Alder in the film. How are you doing?
Great, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. It's a beautiful night for a fantastic film, and you play a genius. So what is it like to play a genius?
It's so exciting to get to play someone so smart because I'm definitely not that smart at all, and it was kind of easy though because my mom and I, we turned it into the math equations into a song and just kind of sang that song in my head. It was really catchy, and it was really fun to get to play the role Mary.
Well, and if you could learn anything, like just one trait overnight and become the best at it, what would it be?
Social studies.
Right now, Marc Webb, who's the director of the film, and there's been a lot of stories about child geniuses, but based on what I heard from the rest of the crew and the cast, this more focuses on the family aspect about it.
Yeah, I think, you know, the core of the central conflict is a custody battle, and there's different philosophies about how to raise this kid, and she's at such a tender age, but she presents as a much more sophisticated, mature person, so it's easy to, you know, think she can take care of herself, but the reality is she needs someone to watch out for her, and who that's going to be is the real central question of the movie.
Yeah. And to you, what do you think gifted means? Like,
well, I mean, in this case, it's talking about a certain intellectual proclivity or tendency, but I think there is so many different kinds of gifted and talented kids. I mean, you know, whether it's people reading in advanced ways, people being aware, there's an emotional intelligence that some kids have. There's an ability to focus. There's all sorts of different kinds of gifted kids.
Right now, I'm Karen Lunder, who is one of the producers of the film, and I want to ask, what was one of the challenges during production, during the whole process? What do you think was one of the challenges of the story or of the film?
I don't know that we had story challenges because by the time we were making the movie, the script was in a really great place and we all really knew what we were doing. The best production challenge we had is it's in the trailer, there's a shot in the film where Chris Evans has Mckenna on his shoulders, and the sun is setting in the background. Well, that was a sunset that Marc Webb, the director, noticed near his home when we were shooting out in Tybee Island, and he said, I want that sunset for that shot. And so we scouted it and we kept looking for the right exact angle to get that sunball, and we planned it all out and we showed up and it was a beautiful day and it wasn't raining, which is a rarity in Georgia at that time of year. And then we were all ready to film and the sun was in just the right spot and we realized we were about 20 feet away from where we needed to be. So everybody on the crew, Octavia, who was just hanging out that day and not even working, started picking up sandbags, you know, any piece of equipment they needed to, and just raced it down the beach so that we could make sure that Marc got his shot.
There's nothing more beautiful for a sunset for sure. And would you say that is your favorite moment in the film, or do you have a more favorite one?
Ooh, that's definitely up there. I also actually really love, there's a scene, well, there's so many scenes with Chris and Mckenna that I adore. You know, I don't want to give anything away, but they have some very emotional scenes in the movie. And there's also a really terrific scene between Chris and Lindsay Duncan, his mother, where their whole sort of story conflict comes to an end, and Lindsay Duncan's character has to sort of confront everything that has happened. And it's one of the most astounding pieces of performance I've ever been lucky enough to witness while filming.
It sounds beautiful, and I can't wait to see it. And what do you want people to get out of the story, and in your opinion, what do you think is the moral?
The moral is that families come in all shapes and sizes, and there isn't a perfect family for anybody. I also think that, people don't make movies anymore that are just about simple things and about humanity. I mean, they do, but not very often. And what I love about this film is it makes you laugh and it makes you cry, and I think you come out of it just wanting to hug someone you love and feeling just a little bit better about the world.
Right now I have Tom Flynn, who's the writer, and his wife Andrea. So how are you guys doing today?
Great.
We're having a great time.
Awesome. So can you just tell us a little bit about the story? How did you come up with it, kind of the thought process, and what you really want people to get from it?
Well, it started when I have these two incredible nieces that I sort of compacted into one person, and they did all these extraordinary things when they were 5, 6 years old. And I had some moments that I thought were a good starting point for a movie. And from there on in came the themes. And as far as what I'd want people to come off at the end, and that is, it doesn't matter how smart you are, it doesn't matter who's technically best for you, love wins out in the end. And that's what Chris and Mckenna did.
Now, since you yourself, you know geniuses who are very, very smart at such a young age, how is that to see these kids who are so intelligent, so much more intelligent than people who are 3, 4 times their age? How was that?
It was terrific, and the thing that was the most gratifying was they brought in several classes of gifted kids from around LA, and the kids said, "That's us. You nailed us," and that's because Mckenna's gifted. Mckenna's something.
Right now I'm talking to Andy Cohen, who's one of the producers of the film. How are you doing?
Nice to meet you. Very well, thank you.
Well, that's fantastic. So can you tell us a little bit about Gifted? What was the inspiration for the story? How was the process?
Sure. Yeah, so the idea really stemmed from the screenwriter who had a sister who was gifted when he was growing up. That sister had a daughter who was also very smart, and actually, as a young child, broke a kid's nose on the school bus, when a big guy was bullying a little guy. So she, from a very early age, stood up for what was right. And I think that that's kind of what we're trying to do here, is we're trying to tell a story that we're not really sure what is right for this little girl. We have a very gifted little girl. Do we mainstream her? Do we let her live a normal life, or do we put her in the gifted program? And there's pros and cons for both. And really, it's up to the audience to decide maybe what they think is best for the child.
And what do you think the moral of the story is? Because it does sound like there's a lot of lessons that all the characters learn.
I think there's a lot of lessons. Number one is your family is what you make it, right? So some families have a mom and a dad, some families have 2 dads or 2 moms, some families just have a single parent, but it is what you make it. If there's people that love you, that's enough. So that's lesson number one, and that's what this little girl learns. And I think the other thing is that there's no one right solution for everybody. Whether you're gifted, whether you're normal, it's all about what is right for you. Some kids are going to excel in one situation and not in another. So what they did was they saw this little girl for what she was and what she needed, and they hope to provide that for her. And it took a while for them to learn that lesson. That's what the movie's about. But hopefully the message out there is that there's no one-size-fits-all for education, for family, for love.
Well, guys, the event is over. We met so many cool people, but now it is time to check out the film. I'm really excited. Again, if you would like to hear what I thought about the film, stay tuned for my review, which is going to be on kidsfirst.org and also the Kids First YouTube page. But I'm your host, Gerry O, signing off. See you guys.